Good morning. Before you check your phone, before you scroll through bad news, before you let stress speak to you, let this truth shock your spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, not the economy, not your boss, not your fears, not your past mistakes. The Lord, your shepherd. Do you understand how powerful that statement is? A shepherd is not hired help. A shepherd does not clock in and clock out. A shepherd does not abandon sheep when wolves appear. A shepherd lives with the sheep, watches over them, fights for them. So when you say, "The Lord is my shepherd," you are declaring something radical. I am not self-led, I am God-led, and that changes everything. Many people wake up anxious because they believe everything depends on them. Their intelligence, their connections, their strength, their strategy. But here is the truth, and it may shake you. If you are leading yourself without God, you are a sheep without a shepherd, and sheep without a shepherd, and sheep without a shepherd wander. They panic easily. They follow noise instead of direction. That is why so many people are exhausted. They are trying to control what only God can oversee. But this morning we choose differently. We say, "Lord, you lead, I follow." That is not weakness. That is wisdom. Education teaches us planning. Experience teaches us strategy. But faith teaches us strategy. But faith teaches us surrender. And surrender is not giving up. It is giving over. When David wrote Psalm 23, he did not say, "The Lord was my shepherd." He did not say, "The Lord might be my shepherd." He said, "The Lord is my shepherd." Present tense. Current help. Active guidance. That means today, in this moment. God is not distant. He is directing. Now here is something powerful to understand. Sheep do not see the full path. The shepherd does. You may not understand why certain doors closed. You may not understand delays. You may not understand why some people walked away. But the shepherd sees cliffs you cannot see. He sees danger you cannot detect. He sees tomorrow while you are still in today. So what looks like rejection may actually be protection. What feels like delay may actually be divine positioning. This is why trusting divine leadership is educational, as well as spiritual. Because when you understand the nature of a shepherd, fear loses its power. A shepherd provides direction, protects from predators, searches when one sheep is lost, carries the weak, corrects with the rod, guides with the staff. Correction is not punishment. It is protection. Some of you are praying for peace, but resisting guidance. You want calm waters without following the shepherd's voice, but peace comes from alignment. Motivation without direction leads to burnout. Ambition without submission leads to confusion. But purpose under God's leadership leads to stability. Let this sink into your heart. You are not responsible for knowing everything. You are responsible for following faithfully. That should free you. You don't have to solve every problem today. You don't have to predict every outcome. You don't have to force every opportunity. Your job is simple. Listen, trust, follow. And here is the shocking truth most people ignore. Sheep that wander from the shepherd are not more independent. They are more vulnerable. Independence sounds powerful in culture, but spiritually, isolation is dangerous. When God leads you, your decisions carry peace. Your steps carry confidence. Your heart carries assurance, even when circumstances are uncertain. So this morning, instead of asking, "How will I handle everything?" ask, "Shepherd, where are you leading me today?" Ask, "Shepherd, where are you leading me today?" That one shift changes anxiety into assurance. Pray this boldly, Lords. Lord, I refuse to lead myself today. I trust your wisdom over my emotions. I trust your plan over my pressure. I trust your timing over my impatience. Be my shepherd in every decision, every conversation, and every opportunity. And walk into your day knowing this: the shepherd never loses his sheep. You are guided. You are covered. You are watched over. You are not alone. The Lord is your shepherd. And because he leads, you can walk in divine peace before fear tells you what you don't have, before bills remind you of what is due, before comparison whispers that you are behind. Declare this shocking truth over your life: I shall not want, not I might not want, not I hope I won't lack, but I shall not want. That is not positive thinking. That is covenant language. When David wrote those words in Psalm 23, he was not sitting in a palace counting gold. He was a shepherd who understood wilderness, scarcity, and survival. Yet he boldly declared abundance in the middle of uncertainty. Why? Because provision is not based on environment. It is based on the shepherd. Here is the education many people miss. Lack is not always the absence of resources. Sometimes it is the absence of trust. Sometimes it is the absence of trust. You can have money and still live in fear. You can have opportunities and still feel behind. You can have talent and still feel insecure. I shall not want is not a statement about your bank account. It is a declaration about your source. And your source is not your job. It is not the economy. It is not your qualifications. Your source is God. That changes everything. Most people wake up already calculating deficits. Not enough time, not enough strength, not enough support, not enough connections. But when you pray this verse in the morning, you are retraining your mind. You are shifting from scarcity thinking to shepherd, thinking to shepherd, thinking. A shepherd never starves his sheep. He leads them to pasture. He anticipates their needs before they cry out. And here is something powerful. Sheep do not store food. They trust daily leading. That means today's grace is enough for today. Some of you are exhausted because you are trying to secure next year's peace with today's strength. But God provides daily bread, not yearly anxiety. That is why morning prayer is essential. It resets your dependency. It reminds you that provision flows from relationship, not panic. Let this hit deeply. When you say, I shall not want, you are declaring that God's supply outruns your need. Even if resources look limited, heaven is not limited. Even if opportunities seem closed, God can create new paths. Education teaches us to work hard, and we should. Motivation pushes us to strive, and we must. But Revelation teaches us this. Effort without faith produces stress. Faith with effort produces peace. The shocking truth is this. Many believers pray for abundance, but speak lack all day. Words matter. If your mouth constantly declares, I'm struggling, I'm broke, I'm behind, your mindset will follow that script. But when you boldly declare, I shall not want, you align your speech with divine provision. This does not mean you ignore reality. It means you elevate your focus above it. It means you understand that your shepherd is bigger than your shortage. Think about it. In the wilderness, manna fell daily for the Israelites. Think about it. In the wilderness, manna fell daily for the Israelites. In impossible situations, provision appeared supernaturally. The pattern is clear. When God leads, lack does not win. So this morning, instead of starting your day worried about what you lack, start your day thanking God for what you already have. Gratitude multiplies peace. Anxiety multiplies peace. Anxiety multiplies fear. You may not have everything you desire yet, but you have breath. You have another day. You have access to prayer. You have divine guidance. That alone means you are not empty. And here is a powerful educational principle. Provision often follows obedience. When the shepherd says, move, move. When he says, wait, wait. Delayed obedience can feel like lack, but alignment unlocks supply. Stop chasing what God has not assigned. Stop comparing your path to someone else's pasture. Sheep that compare fields forget the shepherd. Stay focused. Stay faithful. Stay grateful. Declare this with boldness in your morning prayer. Lord, you are my source. I will not fear lack. I will not be controlled by scarcity. I trust that you know my needs before I speak them. Lead me to the right opportunities. Connect me to the right people. Align me with your provision. And then walk into your day differently. And then walk into your day differently. Walk with confidence. Walk with expectation. Walk with expectation. Walk knowing that you are not surviving. You are supplied. Because when the Lord is your shepherd, you shall not want. Not today. Not in this season. Not in this challenge. Divine provision is already ahead of you. Before you step into responsibilities, before you answer messages, before you carry yesterday into today, hear this shocky. In truth, you can look strong on the outside and be completely drained on the inside. You can smile publicly and be breaking privately. You can function professionally and still be exhausted spiritually. That is why this line in Psalm 23 is not poetic decoration. It is survival power. He restores my soul. Notice this carefully. It does not say, I restore myself. It does not say, success restores me. It does not say, success restores me. It does not say, money, applause, or validation restores me. It says, he restores my soul. Many people are tired because they are trying to self-repair with temporary solutions. Entertainment distracts. Sleep helps the body. Vacations refresh emotions, but only God restores the soul. And if the soul is empty, everything else eventually feels heavy. Education teaches us about mental health, productivity, and emotional intelligence, and those are important, but spiritual education teaches us something deeper. The soul is the control center of your life. Your thoughts, your will, your emotions flow from it. If your soul is neglected, your decisions become unstable. If your soul is wounded, your reactions become extreme. If your soul is dry, your motivation disappears. That is why morning prayer is not religious routine. It is spiritual oxygen. Restoration means bringing something back to its original strength. It means repairing what was weakened. It means refilling what was depleted. Some of you are not lazy. You are not lazy. You are depleted. Some of you are not unmotivated. You are spiritually exhausted. You faced battles silently. You carried pressure quietly. You fought thoughts privately. But here is the hope that should shock you. God specializes in restoring what life has drained. He restores clarity when confusion attacks. He restores peace when anxiety screams. He restores confidence when failure whispers lies. But here is the key. Restoration requires surrender. Riled sheep do not restore themselves. They stay near the shepherd. If you keep running without pausing in God's presence, burnout becomes inevitable. Culture celebrates hustle. Heaven prioritizes wholeness. Let that sink in. You can achieve and still be empty. You can win publicly and lose privately. But when God restores your soul, strength returns from the inside out. Think about this educational principle. You cannot pour from an empty container. Parents, leaders, entrepreneurs, students, if your soul is dry, eventually your performance suffers. Restoration is not weakness, it is wisdom. Even machines need maintenance. Even athletes require recovery days. Why do we think our souls can function endlessly without renewal? The shocking truth is this. Many people pray for bigger opportunities while ignoring their broken interior. But God restores before he expands, because if he enlarges your territory without restoring your soul, the pressure will crush you. Morning prayer becomes your restoration chamber. It is where you release yesterday's guilt. It is where you silence negative self-talk. It is where you trade heaviness for hope. When you say he restores my soul, you are declaring that today is not controlled by yesterday's damage. Maybe you failed. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you made mistakes. But restoration means your past does not get the final word. God does. And here is something powerful. Restoration is daily. Just like your body needs daily nourishment, your spirit needs daily renewal. You cannot survive today on last week's prayer. You cannot fight today's battles with outdated strength. Fresh day, fresh mercy, fresh restoration. So pray this boldly this morning. Lord, restore my soul. Remove hidden bitterness. Heal silent wounds. Calm restless thoughts. Rebuild my confidence. Strengthen my inner being. I refuse to operate drained. I refuse to live emotionally fractured. Restore me from the inside out, and then believe it. Walk like someone who has been renewed. Speak like someone who has been refreshed. Decide like someone who has been strengthened. Because when your soul is restored, your perspective shifts. Problems look smaller. Purpose looks clearer. Hope feels stronger. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding wisely. You stop carrying everything and start trusting the shepherd. The day may still bring challenges. Responsibilities will still exist, but you will not face them empty. You will face them restored. And that is the difference between surviving the day and thriving in it. He restores your soul, not occasionally, not randomly, but faithfully, not randomly, but faithfully. Every single morning. Today, understand this shocking truth. One wrong decision can delay a destiny, but one divinely guided decision can accelerate years of progress. Many people pray for blessings, but few pray for direction. Yet in Psalm 23, David does not just celebrate provision or protection. He highlights guidance. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Notice the wording. It does not say he pushes me. It does not say he forces me. It says he leads me. Leadership requires listening. Guidance requires attention. And righteousness requires alignment. Here is the educational reality. Every day you are walking on a path. The question is not whether you are moving. The question is who is leading. Culture says follow your heart. Experience says trust your instincts. Social media says follow trends. But the Bible says be led by God. And here is the shocking part. Your heart can be emotional, your instincts can be biased, and trends can be temporary. But God's direction is eternal. Righteousness simply means right alignment with God's standards. It is not about perfection, it is about direction. It is choosing integrity over impulse. It is choosing wisdom over ego. It is choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. Every decision you make today plants a seed. Conversations plant seeds. Attitudes plant seeds. Financial choices plant seeds. Relationship decisions plant seeds. And seeds always grow. That is why divine guidance is not optional. It is essential. Some people wake up reacting to life. They check notifications and let messages control their mood. They rush into schedules without prayer. They make emotional responses that create unnecessary conflict. Then they wonder why their day feels chaotic. But when you begin with morning prayer, you interrupt impulsive living. You invite divine navigation. Sheep do not choose their own routes. They trust the shepherd's staff. The staff corrects direction gently. The rod protects firmly. God's guidance works the same way. Sometimes he whispers through peace. Sometimes he warns through conviction. Sometimes he closes doors you desperately wanted opened. And that is where trust becomes powerful. Because what feels like restriction may actually be protection. Education teaches us cause and effect. Spiritually, the same principle applies. Right paths produce right outcomes. Wrong paths eventually produce regret. Not always immediately, but inevitably. The shocking truth is this. Many people blame the devil for storms they created through poor decisions. They ignored wisdom. They rushed relationships. They compromised values. They chased money without integrity. And then they pray for rescue. But God's leading is available before the mistake, not just after it. Imagine how different your day becomes when you pause before speaking. When you ask, Lord, is this the right response? Imagine how much conflict you avoid. Imagine how many regrets disappear. Guidance is not dramatic lightning from heaven. Often it is subtle clarity. It is a quiet check in your spirit. It is a sense of restraint when you are about to react. It is unusual peace when you are stepping into the right opportunity. But you cannot sense guidance if your mind is too noisy. That is why morning prayer matters. It quiets internal chaos. It aligns your spirit before the world influences your emotions. And here is something deeper, for his name's sake. God leads you not only for your benefit, but for his reputation. When you walk in integrity, people see his wisdom. When you operate in honesty, people witness his character. Your decisions become testimony. That means your choices today are bigger than you. They represent the God you serve. That realization should elevate your standards. You are not just making random moves. You are walking a path that reflects divine leadership. And yes, righteousness, see, and feel lonely. Integrity can cost you popularity. Saying no can close certain doors, but wrong doors lead to wrong rooms, and wrong rooms produce wrong battles. When God leads, even difficult paths end in peace. Let this settle in your spirit. Speed is not success. Alignment is success. Alignment is success. You can move fast in the wrong direction and end up far from purpose. Or you can move steadily under God's guidance and arrive exactly where you are meant to be. So this morning, do not just pray for productivity. Pray for precision. Do not just pray for opportunities. Pray for discernment. Do not just pray for open doors. Pray for the right doors. Declare this boldly. Lord, lead me today. Guard my mouth from careless words. Guard my heart from wrong attachments. Guard my mind from deceptive thoughts. Order my steps. Align my desires with your will. If a path is not righteous, redirect me. If a decision is not wise, restrain me. I trust your leadership more than my impulses. And then walk with awareness. Pay attention to peace. Pay attention to conviction. Pay attention to repeated confirmations. Divine guidance often comes consistently, not randomly. Mind guidance often comes consistently, not randomly. You will notice patterns. You will sense direction strengthening. That is the shepherd leading. The world is full of options, but not all options are assignments. Just because you can does not mean you should. Just because it is available does not mean it is aligned. Wisdom filters opportunities through prayer. And here is the reward. When he leads you in paths of righteousness, your conscience rests, your sleep improves, your relationships stabilize, your reputation strengthens. You stop living in damage control mode. You live in confident obedience. Challenges may still appear. Opposition may still arise. But deep inside, you know you are on the right path, and that inner assurance is priceless. Today is not random. It is a pathway. Decisions will appear disguised as small moments. Treat them seriously. Invite God into them, because one righteous decision at a time builds a righteous life. He leads you, not into confusion, not into chaos, but into clarity, integrity, and purpose. Follow closely, listen carefully, walk faithfully, and watch how divine guidance transforms your entire day. Before anxiety introduces itself, before negative headlines try to shape your expectations, before your mind replays worst-case scenarios, declare this shocking decision: I will fear no evil. Notice something powerful. David did not say there would be no evil. He did not say there would be no valley. He did not say there would be no valley. He did not pretend danger did not exist. In Psalm 23, he clearly says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that means darkness is real. Pressure is real. Pressure is real. Opposition is real. But fear is optional. Let that shake you. Fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. And this morning you decide. Education teaches us that fear is a natural biological response designed to protect us. But spiritually, fear can become a prison when it controls choices instead of cautioning wisdom. There is a difference between awareness and intimidation. Awareness informs you. Fear paralyzes you. And many people are not stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they surrendered to fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of the unknown, fear of the unknown. Fear whispers, "What if you fall?" Faith answers, "What if you fly?" The shocking truth is this: most of what you fear, the shocking truth is this: most of what you fear never happens. Yet the stress damages you as if it already did. It distorts perspective. It magnifies problems and minimizes God. That is why David anchors his courage in one phrase: "For you are with me." For you are with me. Not because the valley disappeared, not because the enemies vanished, but because the enemies vanished, but because God was present. Presence changes perception. When a child walks into a dark room alone, fear increases. When the same child walks in holding a parent's hand, the room may still be dark, but confidence rises. The environment did not change. The companionship did. That is what morning prayer does. It reminds you who is walking with you. You may face deadlines today. You may face difficult conversations. You may face uncertainty about finances, health, or relationships. But you will not face them alone, and that reality should transform your posture. Courage is not loud arrogance. Courage is not loud arrogance. Courage is quiet confidence rooted in divine presence. It is waking up and saying, "I may not control every situation, but I trust the one who controls all things." Here is an educational principle: fear thrives in isolation. When you internalize worries without releasing them in prayer, they grow unchecked. But when you bring them into God's presence, they shrink under His perspective. Think about the phrase, shadow of death. A shadow looks intimidating, but it has no substance. It cannot harm you by itself. It is an image, not the object. It is an image, not the object. Many fears are shadows. They look overwhelming, but they lack the power you imagine. Yet, if you keep staring at the shadow, it feels real. The key is shifting your focus from the shadow to the shepherd, the rod, and the staff. "Comfort me," David says. The rod symbolizes protection. The staff symbolizes guidance. The staff symbolizes guidance. That means God does not just emotionally encourage you. He actively defends and directions. Protection and direction remove the need for panic. But here is the shocking reality. Some people pray for peace while feeding fear. They consume negativity all morning. They rehearse past failures. They imagine disasters before breakfast. Then they wonder why anxiety dominates. What you meditate on multiplies. If you meditate on danger, fear grows. If you meditate on God's presence, courage grows. Morning prayer is mental training. It is spiritual conditioning. Athletes train muscles. Believers train minds. You speak truth until fear loses its authority. You declare, "I will fear no evil," not because you feel brave, but because you choose faith. Feelings follow focus. Focus on God's presence long enough, and courage awakens. And understand this valleys are temporary. David says, "I walk through," not "I live in," not "I am stuck in." Through movement is implied. Progress is implied. That means whatever valley you are facing has an exit. But fear will try to convince you that this season is permanent. It will say, "This is how it will always be." That is a lie. Valleys develop strength. Valleys deepen dependence. Valleys reveal God's faithfulness in ways mountains cannot. Some of your greatest growth will come from places you prayed to avoid, but if God is with you, the valley becomes a classroom, not a cobra. And here is something even deeper. Fear dishonors the presence of God. If the Creator of the universe walks beside you, why should intimidation dominate you? The same God who parted seas, sustained nations, and conquered death is with you. That truth should shock your anxiety into silence. So this morning, pray differently. Do not beg for a problem-free day. Pray for fearless faith. Declare, Lord, I will not let fear dictate my decisions. I will not let anxiety control my speech. I will not let anxiety control my speech. I will not shrink back from opportunities because of intimidation. You are with me. Strengthen my heart. Stabilize my thoughts. Help me respond with courage instead of panic, and then act accordingly. Send the email. Have the conversation. Take the step. Apply for the opportunity. Speak truth respectfully. Move forward even if your voice trembles. Courage is not the absence of trembling. It is movement despite it, and as you move, you will discover something powerful. God's presence becomes more tangible when you step in faith. Fear decreases when action aligns with trust. By the end of today, you may look back and realize the thing you feared was only a shadow. You survived, you progressed, you learned, because you refused to let fear rule. I will fear no evil is not denial. It is not denial. It is declaration. It is spiritual defiance against intimidation. It is choosing to trust divine presence over visible problems. And when you live that way, peace becomes your atmosphere. Confidence becomes your posture. Faith becomes your posture. Faith becomes your rhythm. So step into this day boldly. Walk through the valley without surrendering to panic. Stand firm in conversations. Think clearly under pressure, because the shepherd is near. His rod protects, his staff guides, and his presence empowers. You will not be controlled by fear today. You will walk in courage. You will move in confidence. You will live in faith. You will live in faith.